This month, we celebrate National Women's History. It is a tribute to the strength, resilience, and grace that women embody, acknowledging the roles that they play in shaping families, communities, and the world at large. This month, we honor past contributions, present influence, and recognize the battles women continue to face. Women have shattered barriers, glass ceilings, yet around the world, women face challenges, most notable today in this country, reproductive health. As we applaud achievements, we must continue to advocate for change. At the heart of this celebration lies a tale of Sojourner Truth, a woman whose journey epitomizes the essence of empowerment, perseverance, and advocacy. In a society filled with prejudice and discrimination, Sojourner Truth emerged as a beacon of hope, challenging the status quo. She was born into slavery in 1797. She was sold 4 times as a slave. Her name was Isabella Baumfree. She was subjected to harsh physical labor and violent punishment. As a teenager, she was united with another slave with whom she had 5 children. In 1827, at the age of 30, Isabella ran away with her infant to an abolitionist family. This was a year before New York freed the slaves. Isabella moved to New York City and became a preacher. In her 40s, she became a known charismatic speaker. It was at this time she met the abolitionist Frederick Douglass. His anti-slavery organization called upon her to preach the truth about the evils of slavery. She later split with Douglass, who believed suffrage for formerly enslaved men should come before women's suffrage. She thought both should occur simultaneously. She never learned to read or write, but she could hear. In the 1850s, before the Civil War, she met Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Stanton, women's rights activists. She quickly became a champion for both causes, freeing the slaves and women's rights. She continued speaking nationally and helped slaves escape to freedom. When the Civil War started, she encouraged young men to join the Union and organize supplies for black troops. After the war, she helped freed slaves find jobs and build new lives. She lobbied against segregation. In the 1860s, she is now in her 60s, a streetcar conductor tried to violently block her from riding. She ensured his arrest, and she won. I'd like to do a reenactment. I want you to imagine it's the 1851. It's the first Women's Rights Convention. There are 300 of you, white men and women. And then there's me, Sojourner Truth. I am 6 foot tall and black, the only black woman, so you can't miss me. She hears what's going on in the crowd, and it's very loud. There's a lot of noise going on. And she's been asked not to speak. She's a preacher, so she's not, it's not something that she is afraid of doing. And she insists on going up to the old steps of a Universalist church. And she spoke. And this is her famous speech called, "Ain't I a Woman?" Well, children, Where there is so much racket, there must be something out of kilter. I think that twixt the Negroes of the South and the women at the North, all talking about rights, the white men will be in a fix pretty soon. But what's all this here talking about? That man over there says that women need to be helped into carriages and lifted over ditches and to have the best place everywhere. No that body ever lifts me into a carriage or over mud puddles or gives me any best place. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could head me. And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man when I could get it, and bear the lash as well. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children and seen most all sold off to slavery. And when I cried out with my mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? Then they talk about this thing in the head. What's the thing called? Intellect. Yes, that's it, honey. What's that got to do with women's rights or Negroes' rights? If my cup won't hold but a pint and yours holds a quart, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure full? Then that little man in black, there, he says women can't have as much rights as men because Christ wasn't a woman. Where did your Christ come from? Where did your Christ come from? From God and a woman. Man had nothing to do with him. If the first woman God ever made, that was Eve, was strong enough to turn the world upside down all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now they is asking to do it. The men better let them. Wait, there's one more line. Obliged to you for hearing me, and now Sojourner ain't got nothing more to say. Through her activism and advocacy, she paved the way for progress and social change, leaving a lasting mark on American society. Today, as we commemorate National Women's History Month, let us honor the legacy of Sojourner Truth and the countless unsung heroines who have blazed trails, shattered barriers, and transformed our world. May their stories serve as a reminder of the enduring power of women to defy expectations and conquer adversity. In the spirit of unity, let us strive for a future where women's rights are acknowledged and safeguarded.